The ship came down on a Tuesday morning in Seoul. It was not like the movies. There was no fire, no loud noise, no army waiting with guns. The ship just appeared in the sky, floated down slowly, and landed in the middle of park like a leaf falling from a tree. Was drinking her morning coffee when her phone rang. She worked for the Korean government as a translator and cultural advisor. She spoke 12 languages, including 3 that were not from Earth. She had learned them from old radio signals that scientists had been studying for years. Nobody thought she would ever use them. Now, someone was asking her to come to the park immediately. When arrived, she saw the ship. It was silver and shaped like a teardrop. It was beautiful in a strange way. Around it, police officers were keeping people away. News helicopters flew overhead. The whole world was watching. A door opened on the side of the ship, held her breath. The creature that walked out was tall and thin. It had pale blue skin and 4 arms. Its eyes were large and dark, like pools of ink. It wore something that looked like a robe made of light. Behind it came 2 more creatures, similar but smaller. Stepped forward. Her heart was beating fast, but she kept her face calm. This was her job. This was what she had trained for, even if she never believed it would happen. "Welcome to Earth," she said in one of the alien languages she had learned. I speak for my people." The tall creature stopped. Its dark eyes looked at her with what might have been surprise. Then it spoke, and its voice was like music and thunder mixed together. "I am Tora," the creature said. "I am ambassador of the Galactic Council. We have watched your world for many years. We come in peace." Nodded, she had hoped they would say that. "Please," she said, "come with me. We have prepared a place for us to talk." The government had set up a meeting room in a nearby building. It was simple but comfortable. There were chairs, a table, and water. Was not sure if the aliens drank water, but she wanted to be polite. Tora sat down carefully. The chair was too small for her long body, but she did not complain. Her 2 assistants stood behind her, watching everything with their big eyes. "Your language," Tora said. "How do you know it? We did not think your people had made contact before." "We haven't," explained. "We found old signals in space, radio waves. We studied them and learned." Tora's eyes grew even wider. "You learned our language from old signals, without help, without teachers." "Yes," said simply, "we are good at learning." Tora was quiet for a moment. She looked at her assistants, and they seemed to have a silent conversation. Then she turned back to, "I must ask you questions," Tora said. "The Galactic Council wants to know about your world. We want to know if your people are ready to join the larger community of space." "Of course," said, "ask anything." Tora touched a device on her wrist. A blue light appeared in the air above the table. It showed a picture of Earth, spinning slowly. "Your world is very interesting," Tora said. "It is small, but it has many different environments. Mountains, oceans, deserts, forests, many different kinds of life. This is rare." "Thank you," said. She felt a little proud. "But," Tora continued, "our scientists are confused about something. Your planet seems damaged. There are signs of great destruction in your planet's history. We can see the marks in your rocks, in your soil, in the layers of your Earth." Nodded slowly. She knew what Tora was talking about. "Yes," she said, "our planet has had some difficult times." "Difficult times?" Tora repeated. "Can you explain?" Thought for a moment. How should she explain millions of years of catastrophe to an alien? She decided to start simple. "A long time ago," she began, "before humans existed, there was a great extinction. We call it the Permian extinction. Almost all life on Earth died, maybe 90% of all species." Tora's blue skin seemed to turn a little pale. 90%, that is terrible. How did life survive?" "Some creatures lived," said. "They hid, they adapted, and slowly over millions of years life grew again." "That is impressive," Tora said quietly. "On most worlds such an event would end all life. Your world is strong." smiled a little. That was not the only time, she said. Tora looked at her. What do you mean? There were other extinctions, many others. We count at least 5 major ones. Each time most of the life on Earth was destroyed. Each time life came back. Tora stood up suddenly. Her chair fell over behind her. Her assistants made small sounds of alarm. 5, Tora said. Her voice was different now. It was higher, faster, thought she sounded afraid. 5 extinction events, and life still exists on your world. Yes, said. She was a little confused by Tora's reaction. Is that unusual? Unusual? Tora walked around the table. Her 4 hands were moving in strange patterns. Most worlds in the galaxy have never experienced even one extinction event. Those that do rarely recover. Your world has survived 5 and life is everywhere. It is in your oceans, in your skis, under your ground. It fills every corner of your planet. Life is strong, said. It finds a way. Tora stopped walking. She looked at with new eyes. It was the look of someone who was seeing something they did not understand, something that frightened them. Tell me more, Tora said. Tell me about these extinction events. Tell me everything. Took a deep breath. She realized this was going to be a long conversation. She wished her colleague was here. He was the scientist. He knew all the details about Earth's history. As if answering her thought, the door opened. Walked in, carrying a laptop and a stack of papers. He was a tall man with messy hair and glasses that were always sliding down his nose. He looked like he had not slept in days, which was probably true. Sorry I am late, he said. Traffic was crazy, probably because of the alien spaceship in the park. He stopped when he saw Tora. His mouth fell open. Said, "This is Ambassador Tora. She wants to know about extinction events." Pushed his glasses up his nose. He looked at Tora, then back at Tora. All of them, he asked. All of them, confirmed. Pulled out a chair and sat down. He opened his laptop. Okay, he said, we should probably start at the beginning. Do you know what an asteroid is? Tora sat back down slowly. She did not pick up her chair. She just crouched on the floor, her long legs folded under her, her dark eyes fixed on. Yes, she said, I know what an asteroid is. Good, said, because Earth has been hit by a lot of them. He pressed a button and the hologram above the table changed. It now showed the moon, covered in craters. See the moon, said. All those holes, those are from asteroid impacts. Earth has the same number, we just have weather and water so the marks are hidden. Tora looked at the moon, then she looked at Earth. Her assistants were whispering to each other in worried voices. You live on a world that is constantly hit by rocks from space, Tora said slowly, and you act like this is normal. It is normal for us, said. We do not think about it much. Tora was silent for a long moment. Then she spoke in a very quiet voice. I think, she said, I need to report back to the council. They will want to hear about this. She stood up and walked toward the door. Then she stopped and looked back at End. We will speak again tomorrow, she said. Please be ready to share more information. I have a feeling there is much about your world that we do not understand. After she left, looked at. Did I say something wrong? He asked. Shook her head slowly. No, she said. I think we just surprised her a little. Outside, the silver ship lifted off and disappeared into the clouds. All over the world, people looked up at the sky and wondered what would happen next. Finished her cold coffee and began to prepare for tomorrow. She had a feeling things were going to get very interesting. Tora did not sleep that night. Her species did not need much sleep, but that was not the reason. She could not stop thinking about what the humans had told her. 5 extinction events. 5 times, almost all life on that small blue planet had been destroyed. And yet, when she looked out the window of her ship, she could see the lights of the human city below. Millions of people living their lives completely unaware of how strange their existence was. She had contacted the Galactic Council immediately after leaving the meeting. The council members had not believed her at first. They had asked her to repeat herself 3 times. Ambassador Tora, the High Speaker, had said, "Are you certain? 5 extinction-level events." "Yes, High Speaker. The humans have records. They have evidence in their rocks and soil. This is not a story. This is their history." The council had gone silent. Then they had told her to learn more. They needed to understand this planet and its impossible inhabitants. Now it was morning and Tora was flying back to the meeting place. She had brought more equipment this time. Scanners, recorders, and a direct communication link to the council. They wanted to see and hear everything for themselves. And were waiting for her in the same room. But this time they were not alone. A young woman sat at the table with them. She was small and thin, with short black hair and sharp eyes. Ambassador Tora said, "This is my colleague Sora. She is a biologist. She studies life on Earth." Sora stood and bowed politely. "It is an honor to meet you, Ambassador." Tora nodded. "Thank you for coming. I have many questions about life on your world." They all sat down. Tora activated the communication link and a soft blue light filled the room. The council was watching. "Yesterday," Tora began, "you told me about 5 major extinction events. I want to understand them better. Can you explain each one?" Opened his laptop again. He had prepared a presentation. Charts and graphs filled the screen. "The first one we know about happened about 440 million years ago," he said. "We call it the Ordovician extinction. The Earth became very cold. Ice covered large parts of the planet. The oceans changed. About 85% of all species died." Tora listened carefully. On her wrist, she could feel the device recording everything. The council was watching in silence. "The second extinction was about 360 million years ago," continued. "The Devonian extinction. This one was slow. It happened over millions of years. The oceans lost oxygen. Many sea creatures died. About 75% of species were lost." "The oceans lost oxygen?" Tora asked. "How?" Sora answered, "We are not completely sure. Maybe too many plants died. Maybe the water became too warm. The Earth is a complicated system. Many things can go wrong." Tora thought about her own home world. It was a carefully controlled environment. The temperature never changed more than a few degrees. The air was always the same. The idea of a planet where everything could go wrong at any moment was terrifying. "Please continue," she said. Nodded. "The third extinction was the big one. The Permian extinction about 250 million years ago. This was the worst. Maybe 96% of all species died. We call it the Great Dying." Tora's assistants made sounds of distress. Even Tora felt something cold in her stomach. 96%, she repeated. "How is that possible? How did anything survive?" "Some creatures were lucky," Sora said. "Some were strong. Some were in the right place at the right time. Life is stubborn. It does not give up easily." Tora looked at the humans in front of her. They talked about these disasters so calmly. They used words like interesting and fascinating. They did not seem to understand how horrifying this was. "What caused the Great Dying?" she asked. "Volcanoes," said. "Huge volcanoes in what is now Siberia. They erupted for millions of years. They filled the air with poison. They changed the climate. The whole planet became a death trap." "But life survived." "Yes, life survived." Tora was quiet for a moment. Then she asked, "What happened next?" "After the Permian extinction, new life evolved," Sora said. "Dinosaurs appeared. They ruled the Earth for over 160 million years. They were the most successful animals our planet has ever seen." "Dinosaurs," Tora said. She had seen pictures in her research. Large reptiles with sharp teeth. What happened to them? Smiled a little. It was not a happy smile. "The fourth extinction happened, about 200 million years ago. The Triassic extinction. Volcanoes again. Many species died, but the dinosaurs survived. They became even more dominant. So the dinosaurs were strong, Tora said. They survived extinction. Yes, said, until the fifth extinction. He pressed a button, and the screen showed a picture of space. A large rock was flying toward a blue planet. About 66 million years ago, said, an asteroid hit the Earth. It was about 10 kilometers wide. It hit what is now Mexico. The impact was, we do not have words big enough, Sora added. The energy released was billions of times more powerful than any bomb humans have ever made. Fire spread across entire continents. Dust and smoke blocked out the sun. The temperature dropped. Then it rose. Acid rain fell from the sky. The dinosaurs, Tora said softly, they did not survive this one. No, about 75% of all species died. The dinosaurs were gone, but some creatures survived. Small mammals, birds, fish. Life continued. Tora sat back. Her mind was trying to process all of this information. 5 times this planet had been almost completely destroyed. 5 times life had found a way to continue. And then, she asked, what happened after the 5th extinction? Sora and looked at each other. Then they looked at. Spoke, after the dinosaurs died, mammals became dominant. Over millions of years, they evolved and changed. About 300,000 years ago, humans appeared. Humans are very young, Tora observed. Yes, we are new, but we are also very adaptable. Tora thought about this. A species that evolved on a world of constant catastrophe. A species born from the survivors of 5 extinction events. What would such a species be like? Have there been any extinction events since humans appeared? Tora asked. There was a pause. The 3 humans looked at each other again. Not extinction events, said carefully, but there have been challenges. What kind of challenges? Took a deep breath. Ambassador, humans have only existed for a short time, but in that time we have faced ice ages, volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, floods, droughts, famines, and diseases. We have also faced wars, many wars. Wars. Conflicts, fighting between groups of humans, sometimes very large and very deadly. Tora was confused. You fight each other, why? Looked uncomfortable. It is complicated. Resources, land, power, beliefs. Humans are not perfect, Ambassador. We have done terrible things to each other. And yet you are still here. Yes, we are still here. Tora stood up and walked to the window. Outside, she could see the city. Buildings rose into the sky. Vehicles moved through the streets. People walked and talked and lived their lives. Your world tries to kill you, she said slowly. And you try to kill each other, but you survive. You grow. You build cities and ships and technology. You learn languages from radio signals in space. She turned back to face the humans. My species has existed for 2 million years, she said. In that time, we have never faced an extinction event. We have never had a major war. Our world is peaceful and stable. When we meet other species in the galaxy, they are usually similar to us. Calm, careful, safe. That sounds nice, said. It is nice, Tora agreed. But it is also limiting. We do not change quickly. We do not adapt well. When problems come, we struggle to respond. She walked back to the table and sat down. You are different, she said. Your world has been trying to kill you for billions of years, and every time life fights back. Your ancestors survived ice and fire and poison and rocks from space. They survived each other. And now, here you are, talking to creatures from another world as if this is normal. Smiled slightly. This is definitely not normal, but we are doing our best. That, Tora said, is exactly what worries me. She touched her wrist device. Council, did you receive all of this? A voice came from the device. We received everything, Ambassador. The Council is discussing the implications. What implications? Asked. Tora looked at him. Her dark eyes were serious. The implications of what your species might become, she said. You have been shaped by catastrophe. You have been forged in fire over and over again. Most species would have been destroyed, but your ancestors survived. They adapted. They became stronger." She paused. "And now you are reaching into space. You are building technology that will take you to other worlds. A species born from survivors, raised on a planet of death, is about to join the galactic community." "Is that bad?" asked. Tora was silent for a long moment. "I do not know," she finally said. "I honestly do not know, but I think the Council needs to be very careful about how they handle this. Your people are not like us. You are something new." The room was quiet. Outside, the sun moved across the sky, and the city continued its endless activity. Cleared his throat. "Ambassador, you said there have been no extinction events since humans appeared. That is true, but there have been some close calls." Tora looked at him. "Close calls?" "Yes, times when things almost went very wrong, for all of humanity." Tora felt that cold feeling in her stomach again. "Tell me about them." Opened a new file on his laptop. "Well," he said, "have you ever heard of nuclear weapons?" Tora had not, but she was about to learn, and what she learned would change everything. Explained nuclear weapons to Tora. He explained atoms and splitting and chain reactions. He explained the bombs that had been dropped on Japan in 1945. He explained the numbers, hundreds of thousands of people killed in seconds. Tora listened in complete silence. Her assistants had stopped moving entirely. They looked like statues. "These weapons," Tora finally said, "they still exist." "Yes," said, "many countries have them, thousands of them." "Thousands?" "Yes, enough to destroy all human civilization many times over." Tora tried to understand this. A species had built weapons powerful enough to end their own existence, and they had built thousands of them, and they kept them ready to use. "Why?" she asked. "Why would you create such things?" Answered, "Fear, power, protection. Countries believe that if they had nuclear weapons, other countries would not attack them. It is called deterrence. So you threaten to destroy everything to prevent destruction." "Yes, it sounds crazy when you say it like that, but it has worked so far." "So far," Tora repeated. "Have you ever come close to using them after the first time?" The three humans exchanged looks. It was Sara who answered. "Yes, many times. There have been moments when the world was very close to nuclear war. Times when only luck or one person making the right choice prevented everything from ending." "Give me an example." Sara thought for a moment. In 1983, there was a man named. He was a Soviet military officer. One night, his computer system said that American missiles were coming. 5 missiles heading for his country. His job was to report this to his commanders. If he reported it, they would launch their own missiles in response. What happened? He did not report it. He looked at the information and decided it was wrong. He thought it was a computer error. He chose not to start a nuclear war. And was it an error? Yes, it was a false alarm caused by sunlight reflecting off clouds. If he had followed his orders, millions of people might have died, maybe billions. But one man in one moment made the right choice. Tora felt strange. Her species would never put so much power in the hands of one person. They would never build weapons that could destroy their own civilization. The idea was madness. But these humans had done it, and they were still here. This is not the only example, added. There was the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962. There was a Soviet submarine that almost launched a nuclear torpedo. There was a training tape that was accidentally loaded into a real military system. There were many moments when everything could have ended. And yet it did not. No, somehow we kept getting lucky, or smart, or both. Tora stood up and walked around the room. She needed to move. Her body was full of nervous energy. "Your species," she said, "creates weapons of total destruction. You almost use them many times, but you do not. And then you keep creating more weapons, more powerful technology, more ways to destroy yourselves. That is one way to look at it, said. Is there another way? Thought carefully. We also create medicine that saves lives, art that moves people, technology that feeds billions. We build and create and explore. We are not just destroyers, we are also builders. But you are always on the edge, Tora said. Always one mistake away from ending everything. Maybe, Sara said, but we are also always moving forward. Every generation does a little better than the one before. We make mistakes, but we also learn from them. Slowly, we get better. Tora looked at her. Do you really believe that? I have to believe it, we all do. Otherwise, what is the point? The room was quiet again. Tora could hear her own heartbeat. She could hear the soft hum of the recording device on her wrist. Tell me about diseases, she said. You mentioned diseases earlier. Sora nodded. Earth is full of tiny organisms, bacteria and viruses. Some of them make us sick, some of them kill us. We have similar organisms on our world, Tora said, but we controlled them long ago. We have controlled some of them too. We have vaccines and medicines, but new diseases appear. They change and adapt. We are always fighting them. Give me an example. Sara looked uncomfortable. Recently, there was a disease called COVID-19. It spread across the whole world. Millions of people died. Millions. Yes, and that was with modern medicine and global communication. In the past, diseases were even worse. There was a plague in the 1300s that killed maybe half of Europe's population. There have been outbreaks that destroyed entire civilizations. Tora sat down heavily. Your world is trying to kill you from inside and outside. Rocks from space, fire from underground tiny organisms that attack your bodies, and you kill each other with weapons of impossible power. How are you still alive? We are stubborn, said with a small smile. Very, very stubborn. Stubborn is not enough. Stubborn should not be enough. Maybe not, said, but here we are. Tora contacted the council again. She sent them all the information she had gathered. The weapons, the diseases, the near misses. She included everything. The response came quickly. The High Speaker's voice was tense. Ambassador Tora, the council is deeply concerned. This species is dangerous, not just to others but to themselves. They have the capacity for self-destruction on a scale we have never seen. I understand, High Speaker. We are sending additional observers. A team of specialists will arrive within 3 days. Until then, continue gathering information. We need to understand what we are dealing with. Yes, High Speaker. The communication ended. Tora looked at the 3 humans. They were watching her curiously. What did they say? Asked. They are concerned. They are sending more of my people to study you. Study us, raised an eyebrow, like scientists studying animals. Not like that, like historians trying to understand a culture, like doctors trying to diagnose a patient. Are we sick? Sora asked. Tora considered the question. I do not think sick is the right word. You are unusual, very unusual. The council wants to understand you before making any decisions. Decisions about what? Tora hesitated. She was not sure how much she should say, but these humans had been honest with her. They had shown her their history, including the terrible parts. She should be honest too. Decisions about your future, she said. About whether to welcome you into the galactic community or to keep you contained. The word hung in the air. Contained. It was not a friendly word. Contained, repeated. You mean isolated, kept away from other species. Yes, some council members believe that might be safer, for everyone. His eyes hardened. We would not accept that. I know, that is part of the problem. A species that has survived 5 extinction events, nuclear near misses, and global pandemics would not quietly accept being locked in a cage. You would fight. You would find a way out. That is what you do. Yes, said simply, that is what we do. Tora felt a strange mix of fear and respect. These small, fragile-looking creatures had looked death in the face countless times and refused to give up. They had fought against their own planet, their own bodies, and each other. They had nearly destroyed themselves many times, but they were still here, still growing, still reaching for the stars. She did not know if that made them heroes or monsters. Maybe it made them both. I will advocate for you, she said suddenly. When the council makes their decision, I will speak on your behalf. Looked surprised. Why, you said yourself that we are dangerous. You are dangerous, but you are also remarkable. Your world is harsh and you are harsh because of it. But harshness is not the same as evil. You fight because you have to fight. You survive because you have no other choice. That is not something to punish. That is something to admire. Smiled, thank you, Ambassador. That means a lot. Do not thank me yet. The council may not listen. There are many who fear what humans might become. What do you think we might become? Sora asked. Tora looked out the window again. The sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and red. The city lights were beginning to glow. I do not know, she admitted. You might destroy yourselves, you might destroy others, or you might become something wonderful, something the galaxy has never seen before. Which do you hope for? Asked quietly. Tora turned back to face her. For the first time, she smiled. It was a strange expression on her alien face, but it was genuine. I hope you surprise me, she said. I have a feeling you will. The night came, and Tora returned to her ship. But she did not sleep. She stayed up, reading reports and thinking about the impossible humans and their impossible world. Tomorrow, she would have more questions. Tomorrow, she would learn more about the species that death could not seem to kill. And somewhere, deep in space, the Galactic Council was meeting. Hundreds of species, billions of years of accumulated wisdom, all trying to decide what to do about one small planet and its stubborn inhabitants. The fate of humanity hung in the balance, but if their history was any indication, that was nothing new. Humanity had faced worse odds before. And somehow they had always survived. 3 days passed. The specialist team from the Galactic Council arrived on a ship much larger than Tora's. It was a research vessel, filled with scientists and historians and psychologists from a dozen different species. The leader of the team was called. He was from a species that looked like tall trees walking on root-like legs. His skin was brown and rough like bark, and his eyes were small and green. He moved slowly and spoke even slower. Ambassador Tora, he said when they met, the council has reviewed your reports. They are troubling. I know, Tora replied, but I believe the humans are more than their history suggests. That is what we are here to determine. The humans had been busy too. When Tora returned to the meeting room, she found it transformed. More chairs had been added to fit the alien visitors. Screens lined the walls, ready to display whatever information was needed. And sitting at the main table were not just Sora, but a dozen other humans as well. Stood to greet them. Ambassador Tora, researcher, welcome. We have brought some of our best experts to answer your questions. Historians, scientists, philosophers, artists. Whatever you want to know, someone here can help explain. Moved to the center of the room. His root legs made soft tapping sounds on the floor. He looked at each human in turn, his small green eyes studying them. We have read the reports, he said. We know about your extinction events. We know about your weapons and your wars and your diseases, but there are things we still do not understand. Please ask, said. We will answer honestly. Was quiet for a moment, then he asked, why do you keep going? The humans looked confused. What do you mean? Asked. Your history is full of suffering. Every generation faces new horrors. Your world is unstable, your societies are violent, your bodies are fragile. Other species would have given up long ago. They would have accepted their fate and faded away. Why do you keep fighting?" The humans looked at each other. A young man at the end of the table raised his hand. His name was Minu, and he was a philosopher. "May I answer?" he asked. Nodded. Minu stood up. He was small and thin, with bright eyes behind round glasses. "We keep going because we do not know how to stop," he said. "It is not a choice we make. It is who we are. When we face problems, we try to solve them. When we fall down, we get back up. Not because we are brave, but because giving up is not in our nature." "But that makes no sense," one of his assistants said. It was a creature that looked like a floating cloud of light. "All species have a survival instinct, but most species also have a surrender instinct. When the situation is hopeless, they accept it. They find peace in the end. Humans seem to lack this ability." "You are right," Minu said. "We do lack it. We do not know how to surrender. Even when we should, we keep trying. It is our greatest strength and our greatest weakness." Moved closer. "Tell me about your hope. Where does it come from?" A woman named stood up. She was a psychologist with gray hair and kind eyes. "Hope comes from memory," she said. "We remember the times when things got better. We remember the diseases we cured, the wars we ended, the problems we solved. Every victory, no matter how small, gives us reason to believe the next problem can be solved too." "But your history is also full of failures," pointed out. "Wars that lasted for decades, problems that were never solved, suffering that continued for generations." "Yes," admitted, "but we choose to remember the victories more than the failures. Some might call that foolish. We call it hope." The questioning continued for hours. The aliens asked about everything. They asked about art and music and love. They asked about family and community and religion. They asked about dreams and fears and the things that kept humans awake at night. The humans answered as best they could. Sometimes they disagreed with each other. Sometimes they argued. But they always came back to the same basic truths. Humans were survivors, humans were adaptable, humans refused to quit. Near the end of the day, asked to speak with alone. They walked to a quiet corner of the room while the others continued talking. "I have been studying your species for many years," said. "From afar, through signals and observations, I thought I understood you. Now I am not so sure." "What do you mean?" asked. "Your species makes no sense to me. You are kind and cruel. You are wise and foolish. You create beauty and destruction in equal measure. You are a contradiction." Smiled slightly. "Yes, we are. That is what makes us human." "The Council is afraid of you," said quietly. "They have not decided anything yet, but many members want to isolate your world. They think you are too dangerous to be allowed into the larger galaxy." "And what do you think?" His green eyes looked at her for a long moment. "I think you are dangerous," he said. "But I also think the galaxy might need something dangerous. We have been safe and stable for too long. Maybe a little chaos would be good for us." Before could respond, a commotion erupted on the other side of the room. One of the alien researchers was making excited sounds. "What is happening?" asked. An assistant hurried over. "Researcher, we just received new information. There is an asteroid. It is on a collision course with Earth." The room went silent. Every eye, human and alien, turned toward the speaker. "What?" said. He rushed to a computer and began pulling up data. His face went pale. "It is true," he said. "A large asteroid. We did not see it before because it was coming from the direction of the sun. It will hit Earth in approximately 6 days." For a moment, nobody moved. Then chaos erupted. Humans started talking at once, pulling up screens, making phone calls. Alarms began ringing somewhere outside. Tora watched in shock. Another extinction event, now, while she was on the planet. Turned to look at the humans. They were not panicking. They were organizing. Already, teams were forming. People were making plans, gathering resources, preparing to face this new threat. "What are you doing?" asked. was already on her phone, giving rapid instructions in Korean. She paused to answer him. "We are preparing to stop it." "Stop it? You cannot stop an asteroid. It is too big. You do not have the technology." Looked at him with fierce determination in her eyes. "We will find a way. We always find a way." The hours that followed were a blur of activity. The humans mobilized with incredible speed. Scientists gathered data. Engineers drew up plans. Governments around the world began working together, setting aside their differences to face the common threat. Tora watched it all with amazement. These creatures, who had been fighting each other for their entire history, came together in hours to face a threat to their planet. "How are they doing this?" she asked during a brief quiet moment. "How can they cooperate so quickly?" Was exhausted. He had not slept since the asteroid was discovered, but he still smiled at her question. "This is what we do," he said. "When the danger is big enough, we stop fighting each other and fight together. We have done it before. We will do it again." "But the asteroid is too large. Even working together, how can you stop it?" Shrugged. "I do not know yet, but someone will think of something. Someone always thinks of something." On the fourth day, asked to meet with the full council via communication link. Hundreds of alien species watched as he made his report. "The humans are attempting to stop the asteroid," he said. "They are building rockets and bombs. They are calculating trajectories and making plans. They have less than 3 days remaining." "This is impossible," the High Speaker said. "No species has ever stopped an asteroid of this size without outside help. We should offer to assist them." I suggested that, said. "They refused." "They refused?" "Yes, they said they want to handle it themselves. They said it is their planet and their responsibility." The council was silent. Finally, one member spoke. It was an ancient creature, billions of years old, who had seen countless civilizations rise and fall. "Let them try," it said. "If they fail, we will learn that they are not as remarkable as we feared. If they succeed, then we will learn something even more important." "What is that?" the High Speaker asked. "We will learn that the galaxy is about to change, forever." On the 6th day, Tora stood with the humans and watched the sky. The rockets had launched. The plan was desperate and dangerous. It might not work. Stood beside her, watching the same sky. "How many extinction events hit Earth?" Tora asked quietly. It was the question that had started everything. The question that had brought her to this impossible world. Looked at her notes, then she looked at Tora with a slight smile. "You mean this week or overall?" Despite everything, Tora laughed. It was a strange sound, one her species rarely made, but somehow it felt right. Above them, the sky lit up with fire. The fate of Earth hung in the balance. And humanity, as always, refused to give up. The sky burned with light. The rockets had done their work. Humanity had sent everything they had toward the asteroid: nuclear weapons, kinetic impactors, and experimental technology that had never been tested before. It was desperate. It was dangerous. It was human. For 3 terrible hours, no one knew if it had worked. The dust and debris blocked all sensors. Communication satellites failed. The world waited in darkness and silence. Tora stood on a rooftop in Seoul, looking up at the smoke-covered sky. Around them, millions of people were doing the same thing in cities across the world, waiting, hopping, praying. "If this does not work," Tora said quietly, "what will you do?" Did not look at her. Her eyes were fixed on the sky. "We will try again." "There will not be time to try again." "Then we will do what we always do. We will survive. Some of us somewhere will survive, and we will start over." Tora thought about those words. Even facing the end of their civilization, humans were thinking about survival, about continuing, about refusing to give up. She understood now why the council was afraid. Then the communication devices crackled to life. Voices began speaking in a dozen languages. At first, Tora did not understand what they were saying, but then she saw his face. She was smiling. Tears were running down her cheeks. "It worked," whispered. "It worked." The asteroid had been broken apart. The largest pieces had been pushed off course. Smaller fragments would still hit the Earth, but they would cause damage, not extinction. Humanity would survive. Again. The celebration that followed was unlike anything Tora had ever seen. People danced in the streets. Strangers hugged each other. Fireworks lit up the night sky in every city on the planet. For one brief moment, all of humanity was united in joy and relief. Tora watched it all from the rooftop. Had gone to join her family, and Sora had stayed with her. "You did it," Tora said. "You actually did it." "We did it together," said. He was exhausted, but his eyes were bright. "Every country, every scientist, every engineer, we all worked together." "That is what scares me," Tora admitted. "When you work together, you are unstoppable." "We only work together when we have to," Sora said sadly. "Give us a week, and we will be fighting each other again." "Will you, after what you just accomplished?" Sora looked at her. "Probably. We are good at surviving, Ambassador. We are not so good at getting along." "Maybe that will change," Tora said. "Maybe. We are also good at changing." The next day, the Galactic Council held its final meeting about Earth. Tora and both attended, along with hundreds of representatives from across the galaxy. The High Speaker opened the discussion. "We have seen what the humans can do. They stopped an extinction-level asteroid with technology that should not have been enough. They worked together in ways we did not think possible. The question now is, what do we do about them?" Many species spoke. Some argued for isolation. The humans were too dangerous, too unpredictable, too violent. Letting them into the galaxy was asking for trouble. Others argued for inclusion. The humans had proven themselves. They had faced extinction and won. They deserved a chance to join the larger community. The debate went on for hours. Finally, it was Tora's turn to speak. She stood before the council, her 4 hands clasped together, her dark eyes calm. "I came to Earth expecting to find a primitive species on a damaged world," she began. "I found something very different." She looked around the room. Every eye was on her. "The humans are dangerous. That is true. They have weapons that could destroy planets. They have fought terrible wars against each other. They have nearly ended themselves many times." "This is not a strong argument for inclusion," the High Speaker noted. "I am not finished," Tora said. "The humans are dangerous because their world is dangerous. They are survivors because they had to be survivors. Every creature on their planet, including them, exists because their ancestors refused to die." She stepped forward. "When the asteroid came, the council wanted to help them. They refused. They said it was their responsibility. And then, in 6 days, they did what most species could not do in 6 months. They saved their own planet." "With nuclear weapons," someone pointed out. "Weapons of mass destruction." "Yes, and medicine that cures disease, and art that makes people cry, and music that makes people dance. Humans are not one thing, they are everything. Good and bad, creative and destructive, kind and cruel. They are all of it, all at once, all the time." Tora paused. "You ask what we should do about them. I say nothing. Do not try to isolate them. Do not try to control them. You cannot. No one can. The universe has been trying to kill them for billions of years, and it has failed every time." "Then what do you suggest?" the High Speaker asked. "Invite them in. Welcome them. Let them join us. Yes, they will cause problems. Yes, they will make mistakes. But they will also bring things we have never seen before, ideas we have never thought of, solutions we never imagined." She looked directly at the High Speaker. "The galaxy has been peaceful for a long time, maybe too long. We are slow and careful and safe. The humans are none of those things, but maybe that is what we need. Maybe the galaxy needs a little chaos, a little danger, A little humanity. The council was silent. Then, one by one, the representatives began to vote. It was not close. The vote to welcome humanity into the galactic community passed by a large margin. Tora returned to Earth to deliver the news. She found in the same meeting room where they had first talked, almost 2 weeks ago. It felt like a lifetime. "The council has decided," Tora said. "You are welcome to join us." Let out a breath she had been holding. That is good news. "There are conditions, rules. You will have to learn our ways, follow our laws, respect our customs." "We can do that." "Can you? You have never been good at following rules." Smiled, "We will try. That is the best I can promise." Tora nodded. "That is enough." They walked out onto the balcony. The city stretched out before them, busy and loud and alive. In the distance, they could see the park where Tora's ship had first landed. It was full of people now, going about their daily lives as if nothing had changed. "Your world is beautiful," Tora said. "It is also dangerous," replied, "full of earthquakes and volcanoes and storms." "Like your people." "Yes, like us." They stood in silence for a moment. Then Tora spoke again. "When we first met, I asked you about extinction events. I wanted to know how many had hit your planet. I remember. You said something that I cannot forget. When I asked how many extinction events had hit Earth, you looked at your notes and said, 'You mean this week or overall?' Laughed. I was trying to make a joke." "I know, but it was also the truth. Your world faces extinction-level threats regularly. This week you stopped an asteroid. Last century you almost destroyed yourselves with nuclear war. Before that, plagues and ice ages and volcanic winters. And you just keep going. What else would we do?" Tora looked at her. This small, fragile creature who represented a small, fragile species on a small, fragile planet. And yet, somehow, they were the most resilient beings the galaxy had ever seen. "I do not know," Tora admitted. "I really do not know." Reached out and touched Tora's arm. It was a human gesture, a sign of friendship and connection. "Come," she said. "Let me make you some tea. It is a human tradition. We share tea with our friends." "I would like that," Tora said. They walked back inside together. Outside, the sun set over Seoul, painting the sky in shades of gold and purple. The city lights began to glow, millions of small lights representing millions of small lives. Somewhere in space, the Galactic Council was already making preparations. Ships were being built. Trade routes were being planned. The galaxy was about to welcome its member. And on Earth, life continued as it always had. Dangerous and beautiful, chaotic and inspiring, broken and whole. Humanity had survived another day, another week, another extinction event. And somewhere in laboratories and universities and garages, humans were already dreaming of what would come next. New inventions, new discoveries, new problems to solve and new worlds to explore. They did not know what the future held. They never did, but that had never stopped them before. Because that was what humans did. They faced the unknown, they fought the impossible, they survived. And now, for the first time, they would not face the universe alone. Poured the tea and handed a cup to Tora. The alien took it carefully in her four-fingered hands. "To the future," said, raising her cup. Tora raised her cup as well. "To the future, whatever it may bring." They drank together, two beings from different worlds, united by curiosity and hope. Outside, the stars began to appear, millions of lights in an infinite sky. Each one a sun, possibly with planets, possibly with life. Humanity was about to join them. Ready or not, the galaxy would never be the same. And honestly, that was probably a good thing.